In this video, which we filmed over 20 years ago, we redesigned the entrance to the house. On arrival, visitors could see 3 doors and they had no idea which one to use.
Bunny has been called in to solve an entrance problem at this converted farmhouse in rural Lincolnshire.
This is your front garden and your back garden.
Yes,
And it's the entrance to your house.
exactly.
I can see that you've got a problem here, Sue.
Yes, well, it's a very long building with actually 3 entrances and none of the entrances making much of a statement.
So you have total confusion when people come to visit you. They don't know which door to go to.
Quite.
So really, in this area, not only do we want to signal that that is the front door,
Yes.
we've got to stop the path going straight up to the utility room.
Yeah.
And then we lead on to the third door, which is with a balcony. And the balcony is a bit
Awful.
naughty, yes, doesn't like to be too rude. But with that balcony, you don't need access, or you do need access?
Don't need access, I feel.
When you're looking at ways to make your front door more prominent, I think one of the easiest things to do, and probably one of the best, is just to go around your local area and just look at front doors and look what porches they've got on over them, what ways they've used locally. So you keep within the local vernacular.
Right, a good point.
A lot of the houses have very ornamental porches,
Yes,
don't they? Lovely steep tiled, stone tiled roofs, and then lovely timber bracing to hold them up. Now that really would signal that it's a front door, but I just think, do you think that might be a bit too ornamental?
Yes, I had thought about that myself and I just feel it may change the character of the building.
We could emphasise the door by having something like a hornbeam arch around it, and that would really signal.
Oh, I like the idea of that because it's actually making a statement in a soft way, with actually planting up. The drive that approaches through the estate actually is lined with hornbeam hedges.
Yes.
And it would tie in with that. It's just something slightly unusual as well.
To really draw attention to Sue's door, Bunny designed a 4.5 metre wide set of stone steps with inlaid topiary balls. The problem of the low wall between Sue and next door was solved with a row of pleached hornbeam, complementing the arch around the doorway. Hornbeam's a favourite screening of Bunny's, one she's trained in her own garden to create stunning vistas. Fine for the summer months, but Bunny wanted something in Sue's front garden that was going to look good all year round. Bunny created this masterpiece of a knot garden for Stapleford Park Hotel in Leicestershire 4 years ago. Her brief was to create a way of keeping cars from the front entrance to the hotel. This Stamford front garden is a great example of how a grand idea can be achieved on a smaller scale. Bunny planted it about 12 months ago, and it's probably got another 2 years before it fills out. A simple knot garden was the perfect way to give Sue's garden a touch of class.
Things are really coming on apace out here.
They certainly are.
I love this hornbeam arch.
It is, it's fantastic. It has such a great impact on the front door, frames it completely.
Works really well. And things are going to get better and better and better from now on, aren't they? It'll really fatten up over the years and become really nice and thick as it cloaks that doorway.
It does. It really announces the front door, which is what we were trying to do, wasn't it?
I don't think the postman has any problem now in wondering where to go, does he?
He does.
How about the steps?
Yes, I like the steps. I do like the steps. It just brings that attention to the front door and it provides a lovely entrance up to it.
Oh, I'm really glad you like those, because I was just slightly worried that I'd made them a wee bit too big. But they just form such a fantastic feature, don't they?
They do.
You know, you can sit out there, read the newspaper on them, have a cup of coffee on them. They're a real sort of good meeting point somehow.
And I like the way the box has been planted in the steps too, because that's really, again, it's this whole lead up to the front door and this whole front entrance thing, which is fantastic.
Just softens that massive masonry, doesn't it?
It does.
It makes you realise just how big these steps are compared to what they were, because I can see that slab just outside the front door was the entire top step before, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. That was it.
Now it looks a midget.
Quite a change. It does. It does.
The balcony. Now that was probably the thing I was most worried about, but I think it's
No,
fantastic.
so do I. And it is a lovely extension to our sitting room and a lovely area to sit out and look over the garden.
The problems you had before with the utility room door, with everybody making a beeline straight for that instead of the main door, hopefully we'll have solved, because we've got the pleached hornbeam, which we've put down in front of it. Obviously, it will take a few years to train it and to grow up, but in 3 to 4 years, you'll have a jolly good solid screen there. I'm not going to leave you with these bits of bare earth, don't worry.
I was wondering what was happening there.
Surprise in store yet.
Oh, right.
That's the best bit of the whole thing, I
I
think.
can look forward to it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bunny broke up the paving with 2 small beds either side of the steps. Her first job was to plant the main focal point of the knot garden. Here she used variegated holly trees to add some height. It's important to have some form of template for your design and to mark out your pattern, as the box hedging has to be planted precisely. Bunny prefers to use the more traditional box as opposed to the miniature variety, as it's tougher, more vigorous and not as susceptible to box disease. These plants cost around £3 each in pots. You can buy them bare-rooted from November to March for half the price.
I'm planting these at a rate of about 6 or 7 per metre run, which is fairly dense, but I like a fairly instant impact.
And the secret of any good box hedging is the clipping.
I'm just clipping these young plants because I want them to bush out on the side. I want to bush out on the top and the sides. So it forms a nice, clean, very neat hedge. Best time to clip them is something like mid-June, early mid-June. Derby Day, I think they say, is the best time.
Last but not least, the hardcore.
I'm mulching these beds up with a golden gravel, and it's 18mm size. You can use a much smaller size, like a 6mm, if you want it to look more refined, but this is all quite chunky and bold, so I'm using quite a large size. So, hello! I finished, but I'm knackered.
It looks absolutely fantastic.
Bit of a change.
A knot garden, that's what that patch of earth was.
Absolutely, yes.
Fantastic.
I just thought it would be a really nice sort of little setting to the front door. The hollies have worked very well, haven't they?
They have. They've just given a whole new height to the garden, haven't they? In fact, they brought it up.
And the pots, you happy with the
Very
pots?
happy. Very happy.
Little lead pots made specially for you.
Yes, nice touch.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, there's no mistaking. This is the entrance, isn't it? And it's really, really lovely.
Yes, you can't really get confused unless you're totally drunk. I
Absolutely amazed.
think I need a scotch, so. Okay, thank you very much.
Then I redesigned the rest of the garden. We didn't film this, but I added a sandpit under the balcony with a slide down to the boys' playroom. I added a tree house, a raised central pool and a sunken trampoline.
At £500 for a hornbeam arch, Sue's instant look didn't come cheap. But if you haven't got the patience to wait for plants to grow and don't want the expense of a formal porch, then trellis can make a great instant and inexpensive effect.
At Chelsea Flower Show last year, I did design a porch for a garden, and that was quite a simple porch made out of trellis. And as it hasn't got a home to go to, I thought it would make a good entrance here. This is the porch that we made. Here are the sides, 1, 2, and here's the front.
All the timber's been pressure treated, which is very important because then it means you'll get a good 10, 12 years of life out of it, more if you keep it well maintained. I've added these coloured diamonds just to give it more interest, and then I've got these curving brackets on the front to soften it up a bit. It was all looking very rectangular before these went on. Then we come onto the roof, which we've made out of plywood, and you see here we've coated it with lead or dressed it with lead. If you didn't want to use lead for the top, we could have just made it out of trellis and then covered the whole thing with burgeoning plants, and that would have looked pretty good too, but it wouldn't have given you the shelter. Well, we've just about finished now. We've got the clematis up the front, which I think had a really nice touch. We've got these wonderful blue flowers, and they'll be in flower from about June to September. And they just make the whole thing look a bit softer. Just can't wait to get a cup of tea and relax out here.